it's called Merino Mia. Oh, there's my credit card I was looking for. Hello everyone, welcome back to Little Mitch Stitches. My name is Stephanie and I am coming to you on this beautiful Sunday in May from Long Island, New York. Thank you for joining me after a bit of a hiatus. It's been a little crazy in our lives. You can find me on most social media as at Crooked Knits, and you can find the show notes linked down below. All of the details for everything I talk about will be there, and if there's something missing, just send me a message and let me know if you have any questions. So we have had a crazy couple of months. I haven't put up an episode since the very beginning of March, which was actually recorded in February. I did record an episode, but it took so long for me to get around to editing that I scrapped it because it was just not relevant anymore. So in this episode, we're going to have some finished objects. A lot of, well, not that many, seeing as how long it's been, but some projects that I've been working on, some stash down updates, definitely some acquisitions, way more than I should have. Sorry. And the giveaway winner is going to be announced, which was actually part of the last episode that I filmed and never published. So let's get into it. Finished object is my Beechnut hat. It's sitting a little funny because I have my hair in a ponytail and I wasn't really intending to record today, so I'm kind of a mess, but the opportunity arose and I grabbed it because there hasn't been an opportunity in a little while. Anyway, this is my Beechnut hat. It is designed by my friend Joan Forgione and I test knit this for her. The yarns that I used are Cascade 220 Merino Superwash in the color teal, and the mohair is Sheep Dipped Dye Works Mo Silky in the color teal time. And I love this hat so much. I was debating putting a pom-pom on it and I never wound up doing that. I just don't think it really goes with this hat. I wear it a little more like a slouchy hat, but it doesn't work with my ponytail, so it's not looking that way today. Anyway, I finished this back in, I think, March. It was a test knit, so it had a deadline, and I powered through it, but I wore it in March, maybe a little bit at the beginning of April, not so much, but it's been too hot to wear it, so I haven't really gotten too much wear out of this, but it's great for next winter, I guess. So that was my first finished object. Next finished object was 2 pairs of socks. Oh, well, I don't know where the other sock went. Oh, it's on my lap. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I finished 2 pairs of socks that I had been working on. These I started probably about a year ago, more than a year ago at this point, for my mom. These are her Christmas gifts. Sorry, Mom. Don't look. And I ran out of yarn, so I had to do the toe in a contrast color. It's just black. The both yarns are from Patton's Croy sock yarn, and I don't remember if it was like a striping yarn or FX. They have a couple different lines, but this is a pretty dense sock. I've started using Patton's Croy on now a size 1.5 needle because they just were coming out too dense for me. But yeah, so these are getting put away for Christmas. 1 pair of Christmas socks. And second pair of Christmas socks. These are my brother's socks. I started these in September, I think, when we went to a concert together. So I knit these with him at a concert. And finished them up recently. Also Patton's Croy, and these are just plain vanilla, and these are like a broken rib. I don't really do patterning usually, but I do like the broken rib for gift socks in case they don't quite fit the person's foot. It gives it a little bit of stretch, a little bit of wiggle room. But yeah, these were done pretty quickly. I actually thought that my brother's socks would take me a lot longer, but I have actually been doing a lot of boring knitting because I've been doing a lot of knitting while I'm reading. on my Kindle. So I wish I had my Kindle with me. Anyway, I got my Kindle for Christmas in 2013 because I was a nanny to an infant, and I spent a lot of time holding him while he had his bottles, or holding him while he napped a little bit, or rocking him. And I was reading a book that the mom had. She had just read it, so she gave it to me to read. And holding a book and an infant, a hardcover book and an infant, is not comfortable on your hands. So Kyle got me a Kindle for Christmas, and I still have that same Kindle because I go through like spurts with my reading, and I will talk more about what I'm reading later. But let's just say I've been reading a lot. I prop my Kindle up on usually like a pillow on the couch or on my lap, and I knit something plain and simple. So those socks all got powered through pretty quickly. The only other thing that I finished is a bunch of soap sacks, which I don't have on me there, packed away in my room, and I didn't have time to grab them out because I am on a time limit right now while Kyle has the boys out. So yeah, I did a bunch of soap sacks that I wanted to donate to the charity SAC. You can ship soap sacks to her, but she also encourages you to distribute them yourself. And I have a lot of cotton yarn that I wanted to just use up and get rid of. So that's what I've been doing with it. I'm not done, so that's why I still have them. So I still have more cotton yarn that I want to power through before I kind of donate them all at once. Yeah, that's everything that I finished in the past 2 months. So it's not much, but my brother's socks, I mean, he's a size 13. Like, these socks are giant. And my mom, thankfully, is the same size as me, so she's like a 9. So hers aren't so bad. But these socks took a while, but because I was doing it while I was reading, it goes by like it's nothing. Okay, so for projects I've been working on, first one I'm going to show is these socks that I'm in the middle of. This is the first sock completed. I don't remember the yarn name. I think it's called Merino Mia. Oh, there's my credit card I was looking for. Oh, I can't find the tag. I don't remember the name of this yarn. I think it's called Merino Mia. And it's from, I purchased it during a Long Island yarn crawl many years ago. On clearance from the Knitting Place in Port Washington. They opened up their basement during the yarn crawls as like a discount area. So I had gotten a bunch of skeins of yarn. I actually knit my brother a pair of socks, ran out of yarn because he's got massive feet. I had to use more of this color to finish his off. I knit Kyle a pair of socks in purple. Little bit of that is left over, but I was able to make the first sock for Kyle out of this other yarn and not run out. Oh, there's the tag in my little yarn cozy. It is from Prism Yarns. That's it. And it is called Merino Mia. It is 100% merino wool, and they're 2-ounce skeins and only 190 yards. So they are a little thicker. I would say they're really heavy fingering or a sport weight. Where did this go? So I am using a size bigger needle than I normally would. So that's part of why the sock is going a little faster. So I finished one, and then I'm working on the second one. I'm doing the same mistake rib, just so that it would have a little stretch, especially because this is not a super wash yarn that it might felt a little bit, especially because I don't hand wash my socks. I throw them in the washing machine on delicate cycle, cold water, and I hang them up to dry. I don't have time to hand wash socks. So if they shrink a little bit, hopefully the stretch will help, and if not, then I guess they're my socks. Anyway, so this is the second sock I'm working on in the middle of a round. I was just going to knit on it, but I didn't. So I'm working on these. I'm also working on another pair of socks that are a gift for someone that I want to be a surprise, so I will not show it, and I've never knit socks for this person before, so I am doing my broken rib on there as well, because I don't know if she has a wide foot or narrow foot, so I'm hoping that it winds up fitting her. It's a total crapshoot for me, so cross your fingers that it works for me. I have this in my little wrist. These are my like on the go project for when we're at baseball games or at the farm walking around, so I can hang it on my wrist and pull my yarn out very easily. It's a very old bag from Della Q. I love this bag for the convenience of it because it doesn't close, whereas a lot of my other bags have drawstrings or zippers, even if they're small enough to walk around with. This one's just open. I can just in and out, throw it in, and obviously just throw random things in like my credit card. Gosh, I'm so glad I don't have to call and cancel that credit card. I was so worried about that. Okay. Then I have this, this is a bag from the farm that the boys have their programs at. We bought a terrarium kit in it, and it came in this last year, I think. Suffolk County Farm and Education Center. We're there at least once a week. But in here I have my very last sock for my Advent set that I'm making for my kids. The yarn is Sleepy Fox Yarn Company's, I think it was 2019 Advent set. So this is the full skein color for this was the 25th day, and this is the last sock of the set. I am still missing sock number 13. I don't know where it went. Hopefully it turns up somewhere. But this one is almost done. I really should just finish this up so I can have that as a finished project. And all that yardage will count, or grammage will count for my stash down. But I haven't really been working on that one. It's so close to being done. It probably has like 15 rounds and the toe to do. So I should get working on that one. The project that I've been working on the most that isn't socks is my half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. This is in an old yarn crawl bag. Oh, you can't really see the sponsors. It was all the yarn shops on here. And then Knitting Fever, who is a distributor for like Debbie Bliss Yarns and Ella Ray and Juniper Moon, Noro. If you get those yarns at your local yarn shop, they all come through right in Amityville on Long Island. So it's very close to me. So they used to sponsor our local yarn crawl that hasn't happened since 2020. Oh, of course, I'm in the middle of a row because I wasn't prepared for this. But my half and half triangles wrap is... I wish I was done with the row. Not even close. I'll have to take a picture as soon as I get to the end of the row. But it's almost done. This is where I was, I think, my last podcast or the podcast I recorded that I never edited. So either I was here for that podcast and like right here for the podcast before that, or I never moved the marker. I can't remember. But I will do my best to hold it up. Oh, I can kind of see through it to my camera. It's so big and cozy. I've been knitting on this again while I'm reading. It's all garter stitch except for a short row every now and then. So I don't really have to look at it, and I knit on it while I'm reading. So I've gotten a lot done. I was really worried that I was going to be bored working on this, but and I think I was for a little bit, so I put it down for a while and I was working on those socks, but I've been working on this a lot when I'm at home. It's a little too cumbersome to take out with me now. Speaking of knitting something boring while you're reading, the first thing that I knit while I was reading on my Kindle was my very first boxy sweater from Joji Locatelli. So that I knit that while I was reading Outlander. The first Outlander book, and then just like powering through the other ones. And because that was just such a plain, boring project of knitting in the round, I was able to get through it pretty quick because I was reading while I was working on it. Anyway, this project is a pattern by Pearl Soho, and it's going to be a big square made up of 2 triangles. And the yarn, the charcoal yarn that I'm using is Canopy Fingering by the Fiber Company. It is no longer produced. It is a discontinued yarn, but it is very luxurious. And then this side is a hand-dyed yarn from Lamb Strings Yarn, which is my favorite hand dyer. And the colorway is called Holiday Spirit or Spirits. I can't remember which one. And it was the 25th day of the Advent calendar from 2021. I forgot. I didn't get last year's because I forgot to buy it. Don't let me forget this year. I need to buy my Advent calendar. Oh. Looking at it, I have, so every row ends in a short row, and I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 rows left to go. Well, 19 stitches left to go. So, not bad. Almost done with it. So that is done. Not done. I'm sorry. So that is what I've been working on. And that's everything I've been working on. I really haven't done too much more. Acquisitions has been a sore subject for me lately. First, I had a friend give me a bunch of yarn. She was cleaning out her stash, and I couldn't say no. This is where I get myself into trouble. But a lot of it is it's really good yarn she was getting rid of. It wasn't inspiring her anymore, so she decided to get rid of it. So I got, I think, 10 skeins of Barocco Vintage in this brown color. I figured, okay, that's great. I can make a sweater out of that. I have a sweater that I absolutely love already out of this yarn. I basically wear it as a jacket for most of the winter. So I knew I wanted to use this to make some sort of like cardigan style sweater jacket thing. And I decided I'm going to do Larch by Jessica McDonald. I really like her designs, and I haven't knit one yet, so I bought that one. But I'm not letting myself cast this on until I finish another sweater. So I obviously have not been working on sweaters, so this one is not in a rush. Plus, I mean, like, it's about to be summer, so I'm not really worried about a sweater right now. I'll probably work on that maybe end of summer or fall. Cross your fingers that I get to it. There's that. Not really an acquisition, but sort of. So I didn't actually acquire this yarn. I already had this, but every Easter, I like to take the leftover Easter egg dyes and dye yarn with the kids, or fiber. Last year we did fiber, but we did yarn again this year. So they take all the extra dye, all the cups of liquid, and this year it had like dye paint to paint the eggs. Anyway, I'll show you each of the skeins that we made. So this one was mine. I just used this as like a yarn mop. I basically wiped the table with spills. I wiped anything that they dropped or whatnot. This was just basically anything that spilled or needed to be wiped up anywhere, or something dried off, or they finished one of the colors, so I like wiped the cup out with this. And I really like how this one came out. So that's mine. And then this one was Benji's. Not what I was expecting it to look like when I saw it, and dumping everything on there. I thought it'd be much more muddy, but it came out pretty good. And then these two are Jax's. This one's a little mermaid looking. This one's a little green looking. So they had a blast doing this. They've done it every year, but they don't really remember it, of course. So now I think Jax really remembers it. What I do is I put, what did I do? Mine, I just kind of wiped everything up. I have these aluminum foil, like lasagna trays. You're not supposed to use aluminum when you're dyeing yarn. Gotta use what you got on hand though. So it is what it is. That's what I used. I'm not using it long term, and it is food safe because it is food coloring and food safe dyes. Whereas if you are using commercial dyes, you are always supposed to wear a mask and never supposed to use things that you use in your kitchen for food. They are toxic. So yes, yarn dyes can be toxic. You are not supposed to breathe them in. You are not supposed to consume them in any way. So if you want to dye yarn with commercial dyes, you have to have a separate set of pots, spoons, whatever you're using, measuring spoons, everything needs to be separate. I do have that. I didn't want to deal with that for this, especially since this is food safe. So I put them in the aluminum foil trays. I poured a bunch of water in there because I didn't want it to dry out. I put in way too much water, and I just threw them in my oven. I don't even remember what I did. I Googled what the suggested temperature was and length of time, and I just figured whatever. And then when I was done, I left them in there and just let them cool off overnight. I think it was overnight at least. It doesn't really matter, but I let them cool off because sometimes the colors don't always absorb until the yarn has cooled off all the way. So I just left them in there overnight, whatever, let them come to room temperature. So yeah, the boys, I put theirs in the trays. I pre-soaked them. I soaked them in water first. Then I threw theirs in the trays and let them just pour on it, whatever. And then I poured extra water on top of that so that they wouldn't dry out in the oven. What I've decided to do with this, and I don't know if it's going to work for this year, but I want to do family Christmas socks. So a couple years ago in 2020, when Benji was born, I made us all matching socks for Christmas. So we all had sort of matching socks. Kyle's I had started and wasn't really thinking about it, and I just started... Thinking about something. Hold on. Okay. I started Kyle's, and realized if I keep knitting socks this way, I'm going to run out of yarn. So his were just solid in the striping yarn. Mine had white cuffs, heels and toes in the striping yarn, and so did the boys. And then theirs are obviously different sizes than mine and Kyle's would be. They were easier to tell apart, but mine and Kyle's were a little too close that it was good that mine had the different cuff than his. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do is say this is for my socks. This one will be my cuff. This one will be my heel. This one will be my toe. And kind of do that for each of us so that we each get a little bit of each other's yarns in our socks. Now, I don't know if I'll get to that for this Christmas, though. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But, so that's sort of an acquisition. I had this yarn in my stash already. This yarn base is from Wool to Die For. It is the Platinum Sock. I had bought this to do my, I had dyed yarn for my bubble, is it called Bubble Cardigan? Bubbles Cardigan from Stephen West. Someday we'll talk about that one. I never wound up starting that project. I'm still swatching for it. So that one got put to the side because there was too much else going on. Again, no starting more sweaters until I finish the ones that are on the needles. So that is that one. Okay. I did buy some yarn at Michael's. The first time was, my peeps. I bought yarn to make a new one of these. I was going to do a tutorial video and I just did not get to it before Easter came. So I have all the yarn for that. Haven't touched it, but I did buy it. So I bought that. And then the other yarn that I bought has to do with something else that I bought. So I bought not one, but two of these. This is the Centro. Where's the name? There it is. The Centro circular knitting machine. I really wanted, oh, that's what I did. I did a headband. I don't know where it is though. I had it in my bag yesterday. I really wanted to make some of those like twisted headbands that people make on these circular knitting machines. And first I bought the big one. This is the bigger one, 4-gate pins or needles. I didn't like how the headbands came out on this. They came out too wide, so they kind of like stuck up in the back. So then I bought a smaller one. I didn't bring it over because it looks exactly like this. It's just a little smaller. It only has 40 pins. And after I bought them, I'm trying to justify having purchased them and keeping both of them because I was like, oh, I'll only keep one. But how do I justify keeping both? I think I might start trying to stockpile some inventory and doing some farmers markets or craft shows or whatnot. We'll see. So that's something that I'm toying with at the moment, thinking about something to help me maybe bring in an income source for our family. We've had some money things going on that I will talk about in a little bit. Anyway, so there's that. As for Stashdown, I have not logged anything. I have been so busy. It has been very difficult for me to get onto my computer to even add new people to the spreadsheet. I have to do that hopefully today. I will have time to do that. I'm not sure. I'm really hoping I can get over there to do it. But I haven't logged any of the yarn that I've gotten since the last episode. And I haven't logged any of my couple of projects that I finished. Maybe my Beechnut. I might have logged that because I had to have that information for the test knit. But it's just been, life has been so crazy that I have not been able to give that the attention that it needs. And also I'm a little overwhelmed by the amount of yarn that I got. Both from my friend and purchased. I am horribly failing the stash down right now. I hope you guys are doing better than I am because I'm not doing good at all. But the last podcast that I recorded that I didn't wind up ever getting to editing, I'm going to insert some footage here because that's when I drew the giveaway winner. The other thing that I have is I said the first episode that I record in March was going to be when I drew the winner for the giveaway from episode 1. It was supposed to be recorded last weekend and I didn't do that because I got delayed a week with editing the last podcast because my in-laws were in town. So this is the first episode that I'm recording during the month of March. So now I have pulled the winner and I used a random YouTube comment picker website and I just said select one, and the winner was Lisa from the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. Lisa is one of my friends here on Long Island. She has a great podcast that you should definitely check out. I have been holding off on using it as one of my loves of the week. I'm kind of trying to spread out the podcast, but you will definitely see it one of these weeks in there. But Lisa and I met actually on Instagram originally. She commented on one of my pictures and commented on a few of them, and actually I think she said that one of her parents grew up right around where I live, so that was pretty cool. And then I started following her on Instagram, and I'm trying to think, what year was it? I think it was the year that I got that blue Long Island Yarn and Farm yarn that I mentioned in the last podcast. Was it that year or the year after? I think it was that year. So it would have been 2018 that I was at Long Island Yarn and Farm for her summer open house. And Lisa came walking up and she goes, "Is that Jax?" Which is my now 5-year-old. And I was like, "What? Like, who are you?" Because I don't think Lisa had posted a lot of pictures of herself at the time, or I was following an account of hers that didn't have to do with her knitting, so I don't think you visually saw Lisa in those pictures. So she introduced herself and we got to talking, and we have been knitting acquaintances ever since, and we run into each other at events all the time. And she has a little boy who, I can't remember how old he is. I think he's 8. I have my pandemic numbers throw me off, but she has a beautiful little boy who will run around and play with Jax, and when we see each other at events, and so that's always fun. But yeah, that was not the first time. No, that was the first time. First, but not the last time that someone has recognized me because of my son first, which is insane, but it makes me laugh. But yeah, so I'm so excited that Lisa won. So here are the skeins. Lisa, look what you won. She's trying to downsize her stash too, but like me, she's like, I'll still enter a giveaway and get free yarn. And the stitch markers that I did eventually find. I'm not going to contact you, Lisa. I'll let you contact me so that you can hear it here first and be all excited. And we will chat. We'll have to maybe make a knitting play date. And I'll pass this off to her, and then I don't have to ship it to her. So my loves of the week, month, 2 months, really is just my favorite author, Penny Reed. That is what I've been reading. I have been rereading her books. I started rereading them probably around early March. I just decided, I don't know why I decided I wanted to start rereading her books. And then at the same time, on Pi Day, so March 14th, she launched a Kickstarter to celebrate the 10th anniversary of her first book being published, which was Neanderthal Seeks Human, which is the first book of hers that I read. And it is also the first book in the Knitting in the City series. I'm trying to say that without slurring my words there. It's a book series about it's about a knitting group in Chicago, and it's a romance series. So, basically each girl gets her own book and they have their own love story in each book. And I absolutely love this series. I had originally heard about it on NPR's Pop Culture Happy Hour from Linda Holmes. She had recommended it, and as soon as I heard that it was a smart romance, it's not like, no dig to other romances, because I haven't really read a lot of romances, so I'm not judging that, but it's opposite of what you typically think of with romance novels. No damsels in distress. When there is a damsel in distress, she rescues herself, or her girlfriends come and rescue her. It's not like a knight in shining armor kind of situation. These people are all flawed. They all have problems. They all have their own issues. It's not like a fairy tale. So I like that it's a little more on the realistic side. Now, everyone in these books are beautiful, tall, rich, handsome, whatever. The thing I love about Penny's books is that she takes feedback from her readers. So when people were like, why is everyone white and skinny and tall and beautiful? she started writing characters that were not those idealistic body images or whatnot. So she started incorporating more characters who were not white, who were not in their early 20s, who were different ages, different abilities. So I really appreciate that about her. And one thing I learned somewhat recently when she did an interview on Marley Bird, who is a knit and crochet designer, and Lindsay Martin, who has Erin Lane bags. She makes project bags. They have a little like video podcast together, and they interviewed Penny because they were involved in the Kickstarter with her. I'll talk about that in a minute. But one thing that Penny said, her goal with her business, I guess, going forward, she's not just an author now. She supports other authors who write in her world. I don't know how else to put that, but she has other authors write stories that are like off of the main storylines. And she's big on own voices authors. So if it is a story about, I'm just making this up because I haven't read any of these stories yet, but if it is a story about, say, someone in a wheelchair, she has an author who is themselves in a wheelchair writing the story. You know, she's trying to give people who already live that life the opportunity to write those stories. And she's trying to give voices to the people who traditional publishing doesn't support as much. So, non-white characters, not able-bodied characters, characters with mental difficulties or illnesses, or just not your normal book heroine and heroes. So I really love that about her. Like, we can see a broader perspective. One of the things that I haven't seen in her books, it's not that they're not there, because I know they're not, they are there somewhere. I just haven't come across those books yet, because I have not read every book in her that she has written, or every book in every book that's written by other authors in her world are more LGBTQ characters. I know that there is, and I just haven't gotten to that one particular book yet, and I don't know if there are more. I just know that there's one somewhere. I just haven't gotten to that series yet. Anyway, so she decided to have this Kickstarter to celebrate the 10th anniversary, which is awesome. And she originally wanted to make it a super high goal so that she could ultimately start her own publishing house. She eventually decided she's out of her mind and wanted to bring that number down. Actually, the first goal was she was going to re-release the books as hardcover, gold foil edges, gold inlay covers, like super fancy. And then she was like, I can't ask people to spend this much money. So she brought it down and decided to re-release all of the main series, the original main series, with additional like scenes and extra material in each book. She set her goal for $25,000, and I think she hit that in like 3 minutes or something like that. It was crazy. Like, it opened, and a few minutes later, it was gone. That was gone. It was like blown through the roof. And then also one of the tiers, like the highest tier, only had 12 or 13 spots, and that was sold out in minutes. And it was expensive. It was not like I'm not even saying, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm saying it's not even like it was $500. It was like $1,300 or something like that. And it sold out quick. She made things that were like, she tried to make it so that it could be accessible to everyone and everyone can get what they wanted. Hardcover or paperback or ebooks. Stickers, book covers, pencils, mugs, like everything you can think of was an add-on, like accessory. Or you could buy it as a tier. But you could add, almost everything was like as an add-on as well. So what I wound up getting was I got all the ebooks, because I prefer to read on my Kindle now because I can knit while I'm doing it, but also because I can read in the dark. So, which is usually when I get a lot of my reading done is when the boys are going to bed. I lay in bed with them and the lights are off. So I just need the ebook version, and I don't really have the room for a physical book, and I don't have any of her books as physical books, so why bother? Anyway, so there was that. I got the ebooks, And then the add-ons that I got were 2 Erin Lane bags. One was a project bag and one is a tote. Those, I've never had an Erin Lane bag before. I love her bag styles, but the fabrics aren't always my thing, so I haven't purchased any yet. So this, I'm very excited that now I have a commemorative fabric for the book series and Erin Lane bags and my first try of it. And then I got Madeline Tosh is her favorite dyer, and Madeline Tosh is making a custom red color for one of the characters in the book series based on a dress that she wore. It looks very much like the color Tart, which I love. It's I'm assuming it's somehow a little different. To me, it looks just like Tart in the pictures. It might be a little lighter. I can't tell based on the pictures, but we'll see when it gets here. I think I have some Tart somewhere, but that is one of my favorite Madeline Tosh colors anyway. So even if it is close, I'm okay with it. I bought 7 skeins. So stash up right there. But I wanted a sweater's quantity. I wanted to be able to do a sweater if I found one that I liked enough. So I didn't want to be limited to just a couple skeins. I wanted to make it a good project that I'm going to have for a long time. I'm trying to think what else I added on. I think there was a sticker. I got a sticker for my water bottle. Marley Bird did have a pattern set for it, but I didn't think that it would be stuff that I would necessarily want to make. So I'm very hesitant on buying patterns unless I know what it is. I'm not good with mystery things like that. So I didn't go for those. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that was everything that I got, but so that will arrive in November. I don't want to wait that long, but it's okay. I've got plenty of other yarn coming in. I'm most excited about the project bags, I think, and the extra material in the books. So yeah, that is what I've been loving lately. Oh my gosh. Life lately has just been crazy. We've been very busy with school. I was doing very good with schoolwork up until the last week and a half. If you're new here, we homeschool. That's what I'm talking about. Jax is 5 and he is in kindergarten, so he's homeschooling, and that we tend to fall off the wagon a little bit every now and then, which is fine because he needs to take it slow. So yeah, we did a lot of school. We were doing very good with that. And then I planned out the rest of the school year, and that all got thrown out the window. So a couple weeks ago, my car died. I was on the way to my dad's house, and the check engine light started flashing. I was like a block and a half away. And the last time that the check engine light was flashing on one of my cars, I Googled it and it said catastrophic engine failure. This car, we've been having problems for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And my dad was very insistent that the crazy noises that my car was making was something to do with the power steering pump. He really thought we just needed a new power steering pump. So I Googled it for my car, and it said that the engine was likely dead. So chugged along to my dad's house, got it back to his house. He and my brother wound up towing it to the car, to our mechanic, Kyle's friend, and he looked at it and he said, the engine is done. That we're going to look for a used minivan that's newer. Now, if you've been paying attention to the car market at all lately, the past few years has been rough on minivans. They're not producing a lot of them. I think they're producing as much as they can, but it's just, there is such a high demand that there are none available. So we decided that we would get a loan and we'll go get one used from a dealership, like newer. Gosh, I hate car shopping, you guys. That's really what it comes down to. I went to a couple dealerships and nobody has any inventory, and what they do have in stock, they're going for 2020 cars that are basically, they're all the ones that are coming off lease right now. They're all going for about $39,000. So I asked the guy after I took that test drive, I was like, how much does a new one go for? And he said, 40 to 50. I was like, this used one is listed for 39, but a brand new one costs 40. So the next day we went to, that same dealership has 2 locations. One's the used car lot, one's the new lot. So I went to the new lot and we bought a brand new car. which is not what I wanted to do, because I know the whole, you buy a new car and you drive it off the lot and automatically it's lost all its value. But that's not what's happening with minivans right now. So I'm going to just be upfront. We haven't actually bought it yet. We put a deposit down because the car is not even in the state yet. It's being transported here still because they don't have any on their lot. That's how in demand they are. I think we're paying around $42,000 for this same exact car as I test drove, like the same level, because there's like super basic to super fancy. We got like the second level up, which seems to be the most popular one on the lots. That's what I'm seeing for sale everywhere. But so that one, yeah, about 42,000, I think, before taxes is added. I think it was 41. I can't remember. It'll be about that much. But the used one that's 3 years old and has like 50,000 miles on it already is only a couple thousand cheaper. So I was like, you know what? They're holding their value. There's no point in buying a used one then at that point. So I just have to wait a few more days and my car will be here and I can stop borrowing my dad's truck. I've been using my dad's truck this whole time. So he's stranded at home with no way to get anywhere. And then when we go to things like our Jax's baseball games that my dad likes to come to, I have to drive 2 towns away to his house, get him, and then drive all the way back to the baseball games, which are just down the block from my house. So I'm very much looking forward to not having to do that anymore. That really has taken up so much time in our life. Last week, I was so exhausted just from having been out of the house every day and having to do all this damn research on cars. Anyway, that's what our money issues are lately. It's not really money issues, but like I was not planning to be buying a new car, even a used car anytime soon. I really was hoping my van was going to last a couple more years so we could save up a little bit more and not have to get a loan or not have to get, I just didn't want to have a loan. And I would have liked to, been able to get exactly what I wanted. Everything in this van, it's the same exact van as I have right now, but newer. So everything is an upgrade for me. But I really would have liked to pick my color. Or getting a black one, I would not have picked black. I really wanted a blue one. Blue's my favorite color. I really wanted a blue one. It's not happening though, because we would have had to wait 3 to 4 months for it to special order it. And we really just can't wait that long. And this is why I'm like, Urgh. So that's what's been going on for us for the past couple months. So it's been keeping us busy. There were days this week where I didn't knit at all. Multiple days in a row, because by the time we got home and I fed the kids and got them to bed, they've been going to bed so late lately. It's just been a mess. Although they are sleeping better at night, so that's good. They're not waking up as much, which means they're not waking me up as much. So I'm sleeping better. I'm still freaking exhausted though. I'm just so glad this car shopping stuff is over. Now I got to go deal with car loans instead. So that's not fun. But the boys are still out and it's quiet. So I'm going to end this and go, I guess, read a little bit. Ooh, and maybe I'll have my coffee, and my afternoon coffee, and go read a little bit, and back to knitting on my half and half triangles wrap. I forgot to say, the other thing that has been keeping me busy, not super busy, but busy, that I don't have my Wednesdays so much to do my editing anymore, is my adult ed class. I totally forgot to mention this. My adult ed class had started back in March, and this Wednesday is the last one. Well, I love my group. Oh, thank goodness it is over. It just keeps me busier than normal. So it's almost over. It was a chaotic semester. I had all my returning people. They're fantastic. I had a huge new group. That did not go so well. I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I was going to have 22 people in my class, and it's just way too many for beginners. So I have some people they've really like powered through this. And my friend Anjanette, who is amazing, came and helped with my more experienced knitters. She is kind of just helping them with their questions and whatnot so that I could focus on the new people. But we are not allowing this to happen again. There was no mixing of the new people and the experienced people in the same class anymore, because there's just not enough teacher power to go around for it. So lesson learned. But that has been taking up some time too. Thank you for watching and catching up with me after a brief little hiatus. It might happen again as things get crazy in our lives, but hopefully not too frequently. I'm hoping now things have settled down. And we can do this regularly again. With summer coming, things might be a little crazy on the weeks that we have camp, but maybe I'll be able to record outside. Maybe not. I don't know. But make sure you like the video down below. It helps a lot for us as YouTube creators when you like the video and when you subscribe. That helps a lot too. So click those two buttons and we'll see you here next time. Bye.